Right now on Upfront.
Swift signing.
No budget is easy.
Governor Tony Evers racing to sign the state budget into law, a race against President Trump and his so-called Big Beautiful Bill.
We wanted to get it done quickly.
Lawmakers passing the budget on bipartisan vote, a marathon day at the Capitol, and we're there for it all. This Sunday, inside those final moments, the surprise vote, the middle of the night signing, and the key players all with us.
Demanding change.
Problem is, too many people have guns.
Milwaukee police officer Kendall Corder ambushed, shot and killed in the line of duty. Now calls for action from police, community members, and lawmakers.
No person in law enforcement should ever be fired upon.
Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson with us in just moments.
High court decisions.
So while this decision is an incredibly positive step for freedom,
The state Supreme Court invalidating Wisconsin's 1849 abortion law.
State Supreme Court liberals sort of went rogue.
The court's term coming to an end, the court's liberal majority, and what's to come. Former Justice Janine Geske with a new analysis.
This is Upfront with Jaron Jordan and political director Matt Smith.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. A wild finish at the state capitol. Governor Tony Evers signing the state budget into law. The $111 billion two-year spending plan became a race against Congress and the need for Governor Evers to sign it before President Trump signed his own tax and spending plan.
All of this playing out in dramatic fashion inside the state capitol. The middle of the night budget signing, Democratic Governor Tony Evers signing the state budget into law about 1:30 Thursday morning, hand-delivered moments after passing the state assembly.
Not that process is everything. It's nice to have some resources to do things with, but I just think it's critically important that people understand that we need to compromise when necessary, and I think that's a strength, not a weakness, and so that's the takeaway for me.
The unusual race against the U.S. House, ensuring the governor signed the state budget before President Donald Trump signed the so-called Big Beautiful Bill into law.
How closely were you watching what was happening in the U.S. House tonight, and how urgent it was to get this done first?
We wanted to get it done quickly. We've been negotiating in good faith the entire time. The Finance Committee, this is our normal timeline, so it's not like we were doing it any different than we normally would have. It took us a little longer because of negotiations, but I think considering the fact that we've normally passed it by the 30th, it's like 2 days or 3 days afterward, I think that's pretty darn impressive.
The federal provisions, though, that could have gone away if Trump would have signed the bill first with the Medicaid dollars.
It's definitely possible, but again, I think hopefully they pass the Big Beautiful Bill. It's got a lot of good things for the country. We're excited about that. One of those is the opportunity for us to be able to continue to get the funding that we need in Wisconsin to fund all of our priorities. I think it's a good thing.
The urgency for more federal Medicaid dollars. Wisconsin's budget deal bringing in billions in new federal money to help cover Medicaid costs by expanding the state's tax on hospitals from 1.8 to 6%. The president's bill, once signed, prohibits states from doing that.
I understand that this budget must move forward so that can happen. But that doesn't make it a good budget.
The vote count, especially in the state Senate, was critical. In that chamber, 5 Democrats voting yes, 4 Republicans voting no, including Senate President Mary Felskowski.
Sir, can I start with your no vote? Did you feel confident in voting no, knowing that this would pass tonight?
Yes. It's not an easy vote to do because I support numerous things that our finance team put in that budget and that were negotiated. A lot of positives, a lot of wins. But overall, $1.1 billion annual windfall to the hospitals. 0 reforms to try to control the costs for the constituents, the employers, when that's all we heard on the campaign trail. I shouldn't have said all we heard, but one of the number one things that we heard on the campaign trail, at listening sessions, and the governor acknowledged it in his State of the State address and his budget address. And yet, zero reforms. You have to have a governor who's not in bed with special interest, like the hospitals, to actually sign a reform.
You mentioned the governor a lot on the floor. Are you considering a run for governor yourself?
I have no idea.
The drama unfolding throughout the week. The governor and Republican leaders announcing the broad deal targeting tax cuts, childcare funding, special education, and the UW system. The plan quickly going before the state budget committee and some skeptical Democrats.
Are you disappointed in what the governor negotiated?
Well, we were just briefed on it. Certainly, I liked his original proposal better because for me, the most important thing is what are we doing to help our kids thrive?
Do you know how many Democrats may be needed when it gets to the floor of the Senate?
We're going to be talking about that in caucus.
Do you know what you are? Are you a yes vote, no vote?
I'm going to wait and see what the caucus needs, but obviously for me, the key priority is making sure that a budget meets our kids' needs, and from what I've seen so far, it doesn't look like the Republicans are willing to meet our kids' needs.
So you're leaning towards a no, even with the governor's agreement?
Both state senators Kelda Roys and LaTanya Johnson ended up voting no.
There are some positive things to this budget. There's still a lot that's lacking, but overall, it was a good bipartisan effort.
Does your yes vote here today indicate you are a yes vote on the Senate floor tomorrow?
We'll just have to wait and see.
What goes into that decision?
I guess what goes into that decision is more contemplation today. Also thoughts from constituents if they decide to reach out. That definitely goes into play.
The governor at the signing not concerned, he says, with Democrats voting no.
Not really. I mean, they have to do what they think is right, and everybody's kind of looking for what's going to happen in a couple of years, and so I'm not surprised. But there's a whole bunch of Republicans that supported it, so God bless them all.
Budget Committee co-chair, Republican State Representative Mark Bourne.
Is this an example of how government should work potentially?
I think it works that way more than people think. I think this time it just got a little bit more attention, maybe because of some of the Senate dynamics and stuff that got more coverage. But every budget we've done with this governor has been a compromise budget because it's been bipartisan, and he's signed a budget that Republicans voted on and passed.
It seems like, at least the perception coming from the governor's office is the governor got a lot of good wins as well. Do you see it that way?
Well, and a compromise, everybody's going to get wins, right? And so certainly he's going to point to the things he likes. We're going to point to the things he likes. That's a compromise. And so, are there things that would have been different if I got to build it personally on my own, or our caucus just got to build it on our own? Of course, but that's the way the legislative process works, and that's part of a compromise.
How do Republicans go on UW funding from potentially talking about cutting UW funding to increasing the largest increase in several years in budget cycles?
Yeah, part of the compromise.
Yeah.
And so, we know that there's real problems there. We knew we had to get some reforms, and then part of it is ending up at some new investment. But we were starting low, and not just from a negotiating position, but from a position of our caucus was tired of the growth in admin positions, the bloat at those campuses, and they are on notice now that some of that's going to have to change.
All right, coming up, a Milwaukee police officer killed in the line of duty. Police say ambushed and shot. Now the demands for change from police, community members, and lawmakers. Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson is standing by next.